Mindspace has become our hub. It has become the home of the Miami girls. This is where we work. This is where we do our clubs. And for this topic, work-life balance, I couldn't think of anyone better to talk about it than the Mindspace team.
Work-life balance is not about having 70%, 30%, but whenever you're dedicating your time and effort into something, just be there and be present.
Be intentional. It's not about work-life balance. It's about life balance.
Like, I have to do this project and I'm going to put my 100% in the moment. And then lunchtime, when I have to step out for 15 minutes to go on my walk, I'm also putting my 100%. I go on those walks and I'm thinking about the project that I left in my computer. I'm still working.
We love to give ourselves these false senses of urgency. Everything is a catastrophe and we have to resolve everything right now or the world is going to explode. And it's not that serious. We are not saving lives.
If I could have you every day just looking at me and be like, oh, it's not that serious. I feel like I'm too young to run a business sometimes. I'm like, but I'm just a baby.
I'm just a baby. Your environment and your space influence the way you feel and the way you think.
Coming into an environment like Mindspace, beyond my own team, just having the community in the space and you get to see different people and how everybody's navigating and excited about what they're doing, that really fills my cup.
What have you noticed the difference between how millennials approach work-life balance and Gen Zs?
I may be canceled for this, but
we're sitting here today with the city lead of Miami and the marketing manager of the US, right, for Mindspace. For who doesn't know, actually, we do shoot at Mindspace. Our office is here. As you can see, we have this beautiful view of Miami. And for this topic that we're covering today, I couldn't think of anyone else that would be better to talk about it than the Mindspace team. They really take care of us here. And I just really appreciate how Mindspace has become our hub. It has become the home of the Miami girls. This is where we work. This is where we do our co-working clubs and everything. And, you know, this whole conversation, often we talk about it like work-life balance. And that happens to be the place where we talk about it. So let's get into it.
thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. All right, there's a trend that I really like now, and I'm going to totally like steal it. So can you girls tell me, what is a propaganda, both in like work or lifestyle, that you are no longer falling for?
This is going to be one of those moments where like I have to hold your hand when I'm telling you this. You don't have to be the first person to get to the office and the last person to leave. You don't have to be that person. If you're just doing that to show face and to show that you're there and like pretending that you're doing the work, like, are you actually doing something? Like in my whole corporate life, I saw that a lot. I'm just here, I'm waiting for so-and-so to leave. It's already 5 or it's already 6. You have to go home. Like, just don't stay there because you want to show face. I'm sure that, yes, the CEO, the president, the CEO, they're going to value what impact you're bringing in, not the extra minutes you're showing face there just to be there and showing that you're committed. I don't fall for that anymore.
Yeah. It doesn't necessarily bring results.
No.
If anything, can actually
I mean,
hurt.
don't get me wrong. If you are actually doing something, you're on a deadline and you have to stay late because you have to do something that's meaningful, 100% do it. But if you're just there because you want to show that you care more than anyone else, don't.
Yeah, I try to, because with my team, I'm the one who is usually until the end, but I am because I am doing stuff until the very end. Like
said that.
Yeah. And it's like, you probably see me leaving here, like, it's dark at night.
Something to do, right? Like,
but then that's like something that I had to establish to my team, and I was like, hey, it's not because I'm here until then that you have to as well. You know, it's just like I like to get all my stuff done before I go home, right? And so I'm not thinking about it anymore. I'm the business owner, so for me it's like it's 24/7. So that's my way to kind of turn it off. But like, it doesn't mean you guys have to stay that long here too. Once you get your stuff done, great. You want to finish it at home? Great. Like, it doesn't really matter. But I had to establish it because they were like, can we go? No, they're like, yes, of course you can go. So how about you?
I don't know if it's maybe like generational, like for me as well, the idea that like in order to be successful or whole, like you have to have a family, you have to be married, you have to be in a long-term partnership, you have to have a house, you have to have a dog. We all flow so differently. And just like you mentioned right now, that you stay late because like you have your own like checklist to get through. I think it's so much about like what feels right for the individual. and how that expression comes through, right? If you're getting your work done, if you're feeling satiated at the end of the day and can look back and say like, I had a great day, that's all that matters. Like checking off someone else's box is such a waste of time and energy. And I think always leaves you disappointed because you're, instead of validating your own feelings, you are looking for validation externally, and you're always going to be disappointed, right? So I think just finding your own groove and ignoring the like trying to have it all.
Yeah, that's exactly like what we're trying to say here with the sort of thriving, because most of the girls that I meet, they're like, we're living our best life here in Miami, but you don't have to have it all. Like you can be sort of thriving and still be thriving, right? Like I am always seeking perfection, and it's so hard to keep up with that, especially like when you have people pleasing tendencies.
Yeah.
So I really think that it would make sense to try to think of what is for you.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? You know, what are those boxes to check basically for yourself? So let me learn a little bit more about you. Just explain to me a little bit about your role.
Absolutely. So we have 2 locations here in Miami, one in downtown and one in Wynwood. And my role is basically like a regional general manager, making sure our 2 locations run smoothly, the member experience is a positive one, and we're actively creating brand awareness and working with local partners.
Got it. How about you?
Mindspace is a global brand, so we have locations across 40. We have like more than 45 locations, 47.
Oh, wow.
Europe, Israel, and so on and so forth, the Netherlands. And I run the marketing for the US. We have 6 locations in the US. So we have New York, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., San Francisco, and 2 in Miami.
That's a lot of different markets to learn about.
I've been in Miami for a while. Like I know Miami, but I feel like the U.S. is so big and so different that each location is like totally different. The marketing in Miami for the marketing in San Francisco from the marketing in New York,
Entirely different.
Yeah.
Wow. How did you end up here in Miami at the position you're at right now?
Sure. So I'm actually from Miami. My background, my mother is a serial entrepreneur. So I grew up always being in a business or being surrounded by a woman who was starting new businesses constantly. When I graduated from FIU, I had the opportunity to open up a business because my mom had a commercial space that she was looking for a tenant. And I opened up a juice bar that I had for 7 years. In that time, we opened 2 locations. I helped open up another restaurant as well. And then I wanted to pivot my career to be in something a little bit more corporate to get experience outside of, you know, being on that hamster wheel of entrepreneurship. And I found Equinox. And I worked at Equinox for 5 years. I was the sales manager for all of Florida. And I was there throughout COVID as well. So we were able to see how that business pivoted. And after a certain time, I thought, okay, I've done this. It's been great. I want to pivot again. I made a very dramatic shift into the world of insurance. And that was absolutely not it for me. I went from being surrounded by people and chaos and different personalities to then being in a remote role. And even though I had a lot more leisure time, right, I found myself just missing community desperately. And as I started to look and I was looking for possible careers, Mindspace came up. And Mindspace was a brand I had never seen before. And as I kept reading through the description of this role, I was like, yes, this is checking my boxes. This is community. This is sales. This is operations. This is entrepreneurship. So right away, I was just like, this is going to be it. And then after several interviews, including one with the CEO, I landed here. And I'm very happy. It's the best decision I've made.
Can I backtrack for a second? How old were you when you had those juice places?
I started at 22.
That's insane. You like own 2 businesses?
Yeah.
2 different locations?
Yeah.
And you sold that?
Yeah. I did have a business partner, but it was me behind the counter. I created all the recipes. I did literally everything. I would be the one going to the wholesalers. I did the HR functions. I was doing payroll. I was in the kitchen cooking. It was such a tremendous learning experience for me.
Wow. Okay. I'm very excited to talk about work-life balance with you. So how about you, Ashley?
Yeah, so I am originally from the Dominican Republic, so some Caribbean spice over here. And I moved to the U.S. for college. I went to Michigan. And then I was supposed to take over the family business back in DR. And it's into like finance and everything else. And I'm like, you know what? I want to do an internship before I move back. So the whole point for me was to run this business. So I started bachelor's in business administration, and then I also did a dual degree. So I was like, I already know all the numbers, and I know the logistics and everything, operations. I want to do a dual degree on advertising and promotion, so I also know how to market it. And I fell in love. I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. And I kind of convinced my parents into like, I'm going to stay in the US for a bit, just do an internship, and then I'm going to go back. And I mean, imagine taking the girl from the island, throwing that girl in Michigan, the weather. I'm talking about the weather, guys. I hated it. The cold was insane. And if I have to be really, really honest and tell you why I chose Miami, it's because of the weather. Okay. At that moment, right? I was like, I can't do the cold. I can't do New York. Most of my family is in New York. I was like, I can't do this, so I'm going to go to Miami. And I started working at Havas, which is like a media advertising agency. It's global. And I was working there in public relations. And after I started and I was there for a few months, I was like, I'm not going back. And that's how I started my journey. And then after Havas, I was there for a couple years. I went into a more corporate environment. So I transitioned to One Sotheby's International Realty, which is one of the leading brokerages here in Florida. After that, I changed my path and I came to Mindspace, not looking for it. It was like all faith, I believe. But I feel like in contrast with like your experience, I also come from like this family of entrepreneurs that they don't know what corporate life is. They don't know what like asking for a PTO is or anything like that. And I feel like ever since I graduated from high school, I wanted to have that experience into like not the hustling. Yes, you do the hustle, but like I want to have a job that's corporate and everything else instead of just like opening a business from the ground, or not necessarily like just taking over the family business because I'm someone's daughter. So like I feel like everything that I did and all my transitions have been because I did the work, and like like I applied and I did this and that, and I achieved that on that end. So a switch from my parents.
Yeah.
I can relate a lot because I moved from Brazil to Wisconsin.
Oh, wow.
So I was also like, what am I doing
Not for
here?
me, yeah.
That was insane. Like I didn't even think about Miami just because it was like, let me go to somewhere different, right? So it's like very similar, and then somehow I ended up in Miami, which was not my first choice. But I definitely relate on the cold weather kind of thing. I cannot imagine you, especially you, because you were,
But listen, you come for the weather and you stay for other reasons. So.
There you go. Yes. I mean, Miami made up for that. Yeah, for sure. What's something about both of your backgrounds that you think has kind of shaped how you see, work nowadays, and, kind of like just the lifestyle, the whole lifestyle of like work-life balance, that whole thing?
It's such a multifaceted question. When I was in Equinox, it's kind of a hamster wheel. So they have a very aggressive sales cycle. So you're going nonstop, and you burn out very quickly. And when I pivoted into the insurance role, I found a very different experience where I felt like the work itself was pretty manageable. I had a lot more time, but I also wasn't being stimulated. So I was finding myself being burnt out in a way that I didn't even know was possible because I just wasn't excited about what I was doing. And I found myself in this position being like, okay, so many of my like friends would love the opportunity to work at home, and here I am, and I'm losing my mind, and I'm supposed to have all of this time, and these days are just eternal. And I was exhausted, and I was like, I don't understand this. I went from an environment that was nonstop to this very like leisurely pace, and I'm losing it. And then coming into Mindspace, I think with both of those very dramatic and extreme experiences, I'm at a place where I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, I love this chaos that I have going into my day, but I'm also at a place and in a position where it's much easier for me once I leave the work setting. I'm like, okay, I don't have to take this home with me, like unless the building is on fire, which let's hope it never is. But unless there's like some dire experience, like I'm now able to say, okay, I can leave it. at work, and now it's time for me to go and have the fun that I'm looking for. But I think I'm only able to do that because I had those very two dramatic and extreme shifts. And I had the time to reflect and say like, okay, moving forward, how do you want your day to look like?
Very interesting.
I feel like if I think about my background and how I grew up and how like what I saw in my parents and like the people around me, because I come from a different country, like I feel like in DR, the work-life balance, it's very prominent in the sense of like, I used to see my dad picking me up at school in the middle of the day, like lunchtime. And like there we have, like here you have dinner and it's like everybody sits down and shares. There is like lunchtime. So you take that hour or 2 hours from work, you go home, you eat lunch with your family, you take a nap, you drink coffee, you have a dessert, and then you go back to work, right? Or if you need to take vacation, like everything's just like more easy in that way and flexible. And I had like a little cultural shock into like coming here, and like it's very corporate and it's like work. And if someone's texting you at 10 p.m. because something's due or like things like that, you have to be on call. For me, it was like I needed to adjust because I come from that life into like those boundaries are there and they are respected in a way to like you just go.
It's very family oriented. Same thing in Brazil. Like that was definitely a shock for me. It's like, what do you mean I only have like a half hour for lunch?
Exactly. Or not, because you eat lunch from your lunch box on your desk.
For sure. Look, I definitely would usually take the time to go home or at least meet with my family for lunch and go somewhere and eat together. And we had like an hour, whole hour.
No, and I feel like for a long time, I just like followed the trend into like work. Now I'm changing that. At lunch, I get out of my office, or like we have this little live area that we did inside of our office in Wynwood, or I eat with Bruna or something like that, and then I usually try to go for a walk. 15 minutes. And I put on my AirPods. Like when I work from this office, the view is amazing, right? But you go into there, I go see the water, I walk with like a podcast or like a song or something like that. 15 minutes. And then I come back and I'm ready to like do the whole thing, work again.
I am so proud of you for doing that. I've thought about it so many times. No, like it's literally right there. Why don't I go?
And this was a decision. I feel like you will understand when you work in like creative environments. I do marketing. Sometimes I'm just like, our job is to think.
Yes.
And come up with ideas and be creative. And sometimes I'm drained and I don't know what else to think or like, so like I need a break. And it's 15 minutes.
Yeah. You're very good at that though. Like I really do admire that about you, because I find myself, I will easily, without batting an eye, just like work through the entire day, and I'm just like on my computer, I'm eating while I'm working, I'm doing all these things. And the fact that you have the presence and the mindfulness to be like, okay, it's time. I can see the sunlight now. That's an incredible thing.
My therapist hears you now. Because this is not because I am this way, right? I had to learn to be this way. He will be really proud of me. Send me that clip, please.
I love that. And that actually, that goes into like one of the things that I wanted to touch on, because, you know, I think everyone has seen that clip from Diary of a CEO where the CEO of like Skims, she's saying work-life balance is not the employer's problem. It's the employee's problem. And then that was very controversial because, you know, as you can imagine, like, yes, I would think the employer has to also provide an environment that's not toxic and all those things. But like you were saying, like you are the one having the initiative to separate that time. I feel like especially the times that I was working corporate, even when I was given the chance, I would still be like, no, but I gotta get this done, you know? So I think it is equal. I think it is equal parts, like the employer's responsibility to provide an environment in a flexibility, right? But also the employee. So I'm very proud of you that you take that time. I'm sure your therapist is proud too. So all right, let's talk about Miami now. Miami is such an interesting place because you lived in Michigan here in the U.S., right?
Yeah.
You're from here. You've always been here.
I lived 1 year in Georgia.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
It was not for me.
Very random.
Interesting. I always love to have different perspectives from like locals and New Miami girls, you know. I love to have that. So what have you girls noticed that has changed, has shifted in kind of the Miami culture in general? I'll start with you because you're the local one.
Sure. I mean, definitely we have such an influx of people. So the city now versus when I was growing up, there's just so much more diversity. I mean, we see it all the time. There's developments, there's new restaurants, there's so many different new types of things. So I think that feels really exciting. But I feel like the fact that we have so many people coming from other places, you also see the pressure points, right? Like you also see the beauty of the city, but some of the limitations, which has been really interesting.
Do you think that the impact of the new people, do you think that has been mostly positive, or do you think it kind of...
I'm really torn here. I think having new ideas and different perspectives is always great. And I think having like a surge of new people is incredible because it just enriches what's there, right? Because I think as people, like we constantly feed off of everybody else's energy. So you get really exciting things. So that part is amazing. I think where I bristle is, as somebody who is local, having all of this capital coming in and like these big developers coming in, it makes it so much more difficult for startups, for local businesses to really get their foot in the ground, right? Like to open up a brick and mortar store is so challenging right now, just because permits are expensive. Real estate is so expensive. If you want to start a business, I mean, outside of something like Mindspace, right? But if you want to start your own brick and mortar and have a store, it becomes almost impossible because these big name brands that you see all over the country or globally are taking up these plots of land. So that part is, I think, where I feel the frustration, but for people and different ideas, incredibly exciting.
And even like the housing part of it too, you know.
I mean, from my perspective, and I only been here since 2019, right before COVID, I would say that it's the same thing. It's just affordability.
Yeah.
Right? It was not the same when I rented my first apartment when I moved here in Brickell in 2019, that the same apartment and what it costs now. Yeah. So I feel like that has been like a major change.
Yeah.
Which is good and bad because it means that there's more capital, as you said, and there's like money and like opportunities and so on and so forth. But also it's like from 0 to 100 real quick, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was a moment during COVID where rents doubled, tripled in some instances. It was madness. People were thinking about leaving Miami because they couldn't afford to be here anymore. Luckily, it's tampered down a little bit, but it's not as accessible as it once was.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I was here when I first got here, it was kind of in that, like, it was still a little bit affordable compared to LA, but it was starting to go up. And then out of nowhere, it was like suddenly people were getting like $1,000 increases in their rent.
Yeah.
And that's insane.
Yeah.
It's also kind of crazy that there isn't anything to regulate that, but I'm not going to get into that because I know it's way more complicated than I can even understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something that I noticed even for the people moving here. I think a lot of the women that moved here from our community, they weren't expecting that to happen. So suddenly they saw themselves like, oh, wait, I can't afford to live here. So a lot of them could because they had jobs still like in other states and everything, but they're like, oh, wait a minute, like I might not be able to afford to live here. I have to get like, you know, a side hustle, or I have to get a roommate and things like that. So I really saw that affect also the new people that were here. Yeah. So how has living in Miami shaped your relationship with work and rest?
I feel like Miami is I'm not going to say perfect. People from other places just don't come at me. But I would say it helps a lot, right? Because like, as I was saying before, like I get to have 15 minutes and just walk by the water. Or like after work, I can go with Bruno, my little child. It's a pet, it's a dog. And like walk around Brickell Key. Yes, Miami is perceived as like this party place and the party scene, but there's so much more to that. And one of the things that I love the most is the healthy culture. I do plans for my friends, and it's like, let's go to this class, like Pilates, or like I went to a workshop of abundance the other day, and like I was sitting in the grass with like a bunch of women. I feel like it provides a lot of platforms and communities for you to like look into what do you want to do. Like, I love to dance. I grew up dancing, and I didn't dance for years, like a choreography or whatever it is. I found a group of girls that every Saturday they dance, and I go there, and it's like, you know what? I'm gonna make the time, and I'm gonna go, because this is like, maybe I'm not resting in a bed, but this is my way of like giving me, my body and myself, that opportunity to do something that fulfills me. So I feel like if you want, you can look more than the party scene, and you can find your community. And I feel like Mindspace is a great place to like find those things, because we are always providing this like in the middle of the day candle workshops, or like let's paint, or like let's do this, and we have partners that come, and like maybe it's just a pop-up, but if you want to continue doing clay outside and you want that to be a hobby, you go to that partner, right? So like I feel like it's just finding what you want and what you like, and I'm sure that you're gonna find some sort of community here.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because it has literally like having those options have literally like saved me. Like you mentioned the candle making. I mean, I'm not gonna go out of my way to go somewhere and like do like a workshop. I'm definitely not gonna drive anywhere. Like, it just has to be extremely convenient for me to actually take time from work. And I actually thought about it a lot. I'm like, should I go do that? Because I have so many other things. I could be doing like the meetings that I have like throughout the day and everything. And I'm like, you know what? No, I'm gonna take a moment and I'm gonna go there, because it's just upstairs. Like, I can do that, right? Yeah. It was so good. It was so good, because, and I know that sounds really like, I'm sure a lot of people get it, they get to do hobbies and everything, but I hadn't done a hobby in so long. And I was like, oh, this is how it feels. Like my mind, I wasn't thinking about work. I was just thinking about what I was doing.
Just like executing and like putting things and being handy.
And it's creative. And it helps you also as a creative.
And
right?
I'm sure that after the workshop, you came back to the office and you're like, okay, let's continue. But like with a different attitude. And
absolutely. No, absolutely. And not only that, but I was even like proud. I'm usually like proud of
your
like
candle.
I was like, because I the type of work I do is very fulfilling, right? But it's really hard, because sometimes you just really like attach yourself to it, right? And it's like, it feels like you can't do anything else because you're already doing that creative work. And it's like, okay, that was like, oh, wait a minute, I actually got a really good scent out of this. Like, I did a good job. Like, even my boyfriend was like, okay, it smells really good. I'm like, yes, I did it. Like, and it was something different. It was just so fresh to be able to like be proud of something else that I created that it wasn't like my work specifically. So just having those options. Like, now I got to the point after that one, I'm like checking the app and I'm like, what is next this week that I can try to venture?
Funny, it's like just last week we did we were painting in Winwood. And I was like just painting, and actually it came out pretty good.
It came out great, Ashley.
And I was so proud that I was like, the whole office, like, look what I did. And like, this is blah, blah, blah. So I feel like it's just a moment for like, do something that just like, maybe you don't even know that you're good at.
Yeah.
Right?
No, if whoever is watching this that reads The Artist Way, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that's exactly what it talks about. Like, you got to have your artist day, which is exactly that. Like, something that's not completely related to your work that you're doing that is still creative.
Yeah.
So yeah. How about you?
I'm very Gemini in this way, right? Like, I like to do all the things. Oh, yay!
Yes, what are you?
I'm a Capricorn.
Okay.
So I'm the workaholic, but I'm trying to change that.
I'm a Cap rising. I feel you. No, but I think my interests are very varied. I like to do lots of different things. I like to go to restaurants. I love to work out. I love to be outside. I like to be creative. And I think Miami is one of those places that allows you to do that. And I think especially because we do have so many people who have moved here, a lot of my friends are people who have come from different parts of the world or their country. I mean, look at this place. How can you not fall in love? And I think it's so easy to be like, you know what, today I'm just going to go to the beach. Today I'm going to go for a hike. Today I'm going to go to Fairchild Tropical Gardens or the farmer's market, or I want to wake up and go to space. Like, there's so many things.
That's questionable, but yeah.
She does that.
I do that.
You are one of those?
I'm one of those. But Like, I like to go in the morning.
But you see, she has options.
I have the option.
Yes. No, I actually love that because my friends do that too. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
have to someday try it because I know it's probably way better than spending the whole night there.
Yeah.
So I'm not judging you.
You go to bed. You go to bed at your regular time. You wake up early. You dance, and then you go and you have brunch. What could be better?
Makes sense.
I think Miami is one of those places where maybe in some other cities you're just surrounded by concrete, right? Or if it's maybe remote to the point where you don't get influx of new energy or new events. But if you want to go see a ballet, you can. If you want to go to a concert, you can. If you want to go to the Florida Keys and go snorkeling, you can. If you want to have a rager and spend your entire weekend at 11, you can. If you want to find little artist communities and like sculpt clay or make candles, you also can. Obviously, I love it here. And I think that there's so much that keeps you engaged beyond work that it makes it easy to say like, oh wait, I left the office. I'm going to have an adventure now.
And I also feel like the weather, I know that I'm talking about the weather a lot, but the weather also helps because like you see this beautiful day and you're like, I don't want to stay inside.
Yeah.
I want to go do something. I want to, whatever it is, just like walk around, see the people walking, exercising, being alive.
Also, maybe unpopular opinion, and this is definitely because I'm a native, I love the humidity. So right now it is hot.
Vanessa.
It is steamy. I am so alive.
It's because she's
right
got
now.
a perfect hair. Like,
I'm like, it's 90 degrees and 50% humidity. It's my time.
well, I mean, probably because you're also used to it, right?
100%.
But you know what's really kind of sad is that I don't like when it's sunny outside, and especially when I have to work. I'm like, I hate it. It's always sunny here. And then when it rains, I'm like, ooh, it's okay to be at home. Okay, I feel like I can be at home because otherwise it's just like sunny. And I'm like, maybe I should be outside.
Okay,
It feels so bad.
don't take the pressure out. You know?
I won't. But, you know, just to correct, Miami is the best. It's definitely the best. As you can see here, if you don't agree, you haven't been here, or if you have been here, you probably have just been in the like tourist areas and things. So all I can say is that if for anyone that doesn't live here, if you come to Miami, try to experience those things that we're talking about. You're gonna see a completely different
I
type
feel
of
like you
Miami.
have to be here for a little, like
Yeah.
a couple months, so
Yeah.
you can actually get
That's true.
what it is about.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
And I think that's also like, I mean, that's why you started the New Miami Girls too, right? Like it takes a beat to find your rhythm and to find your people. And I think if you come here and you're just here for the weekend, you're here for a short time, you only get the surface. And it's really hard to be like, why do people want to come here?
Right.
But when you find your community, it completely changes the city.
Where did you grow up here?
In Brickell Key.
In Brickell Key? Oh, wow. Okay. So have you noticed like a shift on that too? Like of the options that you had? Because I know my boyfriend, he grew up here, and I know in the past he didn't really have that many options here in terms of like, it wasn't like, I mean, I guess the whole country wasn't so crazy about community as it is now, but like even like the creative community and all those things, he actually went to LA because of that. Like how was it for you? You still had all those things that you have now, or have you noticed that it's kind of like...
I think it's improved a lot. I think maybe growing up, there was Miami, for as diverse as it is, I think there were lots of parts that were quite, I don't know if segregated is the right word, but there were different communities, right? Mm-hmm. So it was like very Cuban, very Venezuelan, very Caribbean, and people would kind of just be like sectioned off a little bit. So you would stay within your neighborhood. Now, I mean, gentrification has good things and bad things, right? But the city has expanded so much, and we've had so many people come in, and there are so many people that aren't from here that they're actively looking for that community. So I definitely think that there's much more openness to connecting with people just because there are so many new people, right?
Yeah.
And people who are actively looking for it. The community that I have now are people that I've met, I would say, in the past 10 years, right? Like I have childhood friends, but the people who are around me the most are ones that I've met in the past like 10 years who are from other parts of the city or other parts of the country or world. So I definitely think that that's changed a lot.
I kind of figured that. I think that a lot of the new people also, they're trying to create community, like as you said, like they're looking for that, so they're trying to create what they don't have perhaps yet. Or maybe they're just like don't know it, right? Like I know that there's a great creative community here. It's just like sometimes it takes a little, it's harder to find. They're already kind of like...
You know what I noticed? That I also, I don't know if this is the city, the atmosphere, but like people here, they don't feel like If they want to start like a running club, or if they want to start something, they'll do it.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, if someone's doing it, why can't I? Right?
Yeah.
Where in other places, I don't think it's like that. I feel like people have that fear, or like maybe they're shy or something like that. But I feel like here in Miami, I see that a lot. It's like, why not? Right? If I want to read books, or I have a weird hobby, I'm sure that someone else out there is going to do the same thing that I do, and we're going to be a community. So that also helps. Like right now, Miami has a community for it. Have you seen the Brickell Running Club, how big it is right now?
Huge.
I didn't realize there were that many crazy people here. Just kidding, but like, no, I admire them, and like getting together to do something that's actually good for you, right? I just wouldn't be able to keep up. I would be like all the way in the back, dying. But yeah, that's for sure. Like it's gotten so big, right? And even like the parties now, like
The coffee parties.
yes, the caffeinated parties. Like I went
Honestly,
the other day.
I love the concept.
It's really cool. I went the other day. We had Lucy here from Coffee and Chill, and she's like, "Oh, you gotta come." Like I hadn't been to it yet. Of course, I never allow myself to go anywhere, right? So I actually went, and I'm like, they're all having fun, and they're not drinking alcohol. They're just like, they're all hyped up, and I'm like, wow, is that all caffeine? But not really like the environment.
Yeah.
You know, it was just so like people were just really like we're there to have a good time. I think that there's something about like that culture of escapism, like, and in the culture of like now they just want to be present, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't need to be drinking to like kind of escape something. You just want to be there. So I think that's really cool. And Miami's definitely kind of like, I think, at the forefront of that in the whole country. So that's, I mean, it's at least as far as I see it. I am biased because I think Miami's the best. So, all right. So we've been talking a lot about work-life balance, right? So what does that even mean to you?
I had a conversation not a long time ago, but I feel like that changed my mind, or my mindset in a way. I was overwhelmed. I was venting with this person that I trust and respect a lot, and I was venting. It was about work, obviously, and I'm venting and like, I can't do this anymore, and so on and so forth. And the person just stopped me and was like, actually, like right now in this moment in time, what's your priority? And I'm like, but about what? Like priority work life, like in my life, in my dating life, like what are you talking about? And he's like, no, like right now in this moment, like here with me. And I just didn't have an answer. Like I was thinking about work and stuff like that. And he's like, your priority right now, it's this conversation. My priority right now is this conversation. I am putting my 100% in this conversation. So I feel like for me, and this is where I'm coming from, work-life balance is not about having 70%, 30%, so on and so forth. But whenever you're dedicating your time and effort into something, just be there and be present.
Be intentional.
Be intentional. Maybe I am stressed and and I'm not going to say that I cracked the code, because sometimes I was crying the other day.
Okay, what's the tea?
I got overwhelmed, you know, and like I needed to like, I don't know, with my emotions, but sometimes you get overwhelmed. But it's like, if I am putting the effort into like, I have to do this project and I'm going to put my 100% in the moment. And then at lunchtime, when I have to step out for 15 minutes to go on my walk, I'm also putting my 100% there. I feel like you can have that work-life balance. Which is, I feel like it's just a term. It's not necessarily like, it doesn't cover it all.
Yeah.
But for me, that's how I do it. It's like, if I'm going to rest, or if I'm going to be with my friends, I'm going to be with my family, I'm going on a trip, I'm going to give that my 100%. But when I'm at work, I'm also intense and a perfectionist. And I'm also going to put my 100% there. So just like be intentional and be present, and you're going to feel that change.
Yeah, I heard someone saying that like it's not about work-life balance, it's about life balance in general, right? It's just like having balance with anything. And it doesn't mean like 50-50, like it's just being present, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
If I go on those walks and I'm thinking about the project that I left on my computer, I'm still working, right? So like I feel like it's that, just be present, be intentional.
Yeah. And probably what happens sometimes is that, at least for me, if I take the time to go for a walk and I take my mind out of it for a little bit, at some point it comes back, of course. But then I actually have a solution for it. I'm actually like, okay, you just get into a different environment, and it kind of like,
back,
yeah. So I can definitely see why that would be like a good definition for it. Yeah. How about you?
I'm going to echo a lot of what Ashley was saying. I think really one of the greatest lessons that I've learned is my priority has shifted from being like my career, my community, my this, my that, to myself, and saying, okay, how am I prioritizing myself and like my sanity and my well-being? And if I am filling my own cup, everything else is going to fall into place, right? So for me, it's very important. I meal prep every week. I make sure that I go to the gym. A good week for me, I'm at the gym 6 times a week, right? So my lift is really important. The foods that I eat are really important to me. The amount of sleep that I give myself is really important to me. And when I'm pouring into my own cup, then I'm really excited to go into work. I'm really excited to be in the moment and give everything while I'm there, similar to what you were saying. And then when I leave, it's the reward, right? Because you were doing this for a while. I don't know how you were doing it. You were waking up at 5 a.m. working out. I cannot do that. I am not that girl. But my workouts are in the evenings. So after a full day of work, I get my reward and I get to dedicate that hour to myself. That's really important, right? So I think it's about having the presence, and similar to what Ashley was saying, is really thinking about what your priority is. I want to live a long, vital life. I want to enjoy the people that I have around me. And I can only do that if I pour into my own cup first, right? Everything else, like, we love to give ourselves these false senses of urgency, right? And everything is a catastrophe, and we have to resolve everything right now or the world is going to explode. And it's not that serious. Like we are not saving
We're not
lives.
saving lives.
I think if I
Really
could
not.
have like, I think if I could have you like just every day just looking at me being like, Ellen, it's not that serious.
It's not that serious.
Because that's like my everyday, everything is a catastrophe. Like everything.
And sometimes people think that the work-life balance is like you have to put that boundary, and like one thing doesn't relate to the other, and I walk through that door and that's it. That's I don't know. I can say bullshit.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It all relates. If I had a really bad day at work, I'm gonna go home and I'm not gonna feel my best, and maybe that's going to impact everything else that I do for the rest of the day. Or maybe I'm having a personal thing, right? Like I got into a fight or something like that, and I'm upset, and then I'm gonna come into work, and it's, yes, obviously you can say, okay, this is my professional environment, I have to put that aside, but at the end of the day, it affects you. Mm-hmm. So if you don't take care of one aspect, the other one is gonna fall apart too. Yeah. So is it balance? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, unless we do like the whole severance thing, which you just like split your brain in half, and then you're like, okay, that's not gonna bleed into work because you're not even.
And
like,
AI is not there yet.
Yeah, not there yet. I hope it never gets there, right? Because that's exactly like. I think that for me personally, because I'm not like if I get a chance to go to the gym once a week, I'm like, wow, like that's like compared to like how it was like last year, for example, like. I'm like actually proud of myself because it's just so hard for me to like actually listen to that first voice that comes to my mind, like maybe I should go to the gym. But then there's that second voice is like, yeah, but you got to finish this and this and that. And you're going to be like, anxious later if you don't do it. So do it now and then later too tired to go. So I am lately kind of like trying to come into terms with the fact that it's not going to be perfect. Right? Like the whole balance thing. If I get myself to the gym once a week, I should be proud of that, because then what happens is like maybe it'll make me want to go again, right? Like little things that you can do. They're not perhaps the full on like, I'm actually having like my rest time and all of that, but that they're contributing to, giving you that kind of environment. There's something to be said about like, okay, if you're going to have to work a lot, especially for business owners, like work long hours is almost like 24/7. Like, have you seen that little meme, like when you're trying to have like a breakdown, or you are having a breakdown and then someone texts you about business and you just have to like respond while you're having a breakdown. And that happens to me all the time.
I think that we're similar in the way that we are perfectionists. So it's all or nothing.
Yeah.
Right? So it happens to me a lot
all
that...
or nothing.
I didn't even realize. There you go.
Yeah.
So I feel like it still happens to me a lot, that it's like, if I'm going to do this diet, I have to do it perfectly. Or if I'm going to do this workout routine, I have to do it perfectly. And I feel like that's not sustainable. So like if you can just start by prioritizing what every day you wake up and you're like, what's one thing that I want to do for myself today? Forget about the job, forget about work, for myself. Maybe it's I want to read 5 pages of a book. Maybe I want to go for a walk. Maybe I want to do this. Like, what's that one thing that you want to do for yourself during that day? And then you just check that box and you're going to feel better.
And I think to that point too, it's allowing ourselves grace, right? Like who are we trying to prove ourselves to, right? It's just about like, these things are supposed to be things that are nourishing us, right? Going to the gym is moving your body because you're alive and you can. It's not like a punishment, right? So if one week we can, or like life gets ahead of us, that's okay. We're human. We have the space and the time. It's just that's something that was something that I noticed for myself quite a lot, is monitoring that internal monologue, right? Am I shaming myself? Am I guilting myself? And why?
Yeah.
At whose expectations am I trying to meet? And if it's my own, it changes quite a bit, right?
Especially as a woman.
Yeah.
And if you're
Because
listening to
change.
this podcast, don't think that having the work-life balance or like a life balance, it's going to the gym and going on walks and
No.
doing this and that.
It changes
It's
for
whatever
everyone.
you feel that you want and whatever it's going to make you feel better.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be the workouts or the meditation or this and that. It's whatever works for you. What is that you want to do that fulfills you? And that's that you're prioritizing yourself in that moment.
And if you don't know what that is, just try different things.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like now I
yeah.
know I like candle making.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? Yeah. All right. So I know that we're most likely millennials here, even though I've heard that someone here is like a fake Gen Z. What would you say that you have noticed, like the differences right now, like especially like I guess you probably pay attention to like I don't know siblings and things like that. Like what have you noticed like the difference between millennials, how millennials approach that work-life balance, and Gen Zs?
I may be canceled for this, but not canceled, but opinions. I feel like the Gen Z generation is taking it to the extreme a little bit. And yes, you are worth it. Yes, you deserve to have your time. And yes, you deserve to have everything you want and that work-life balance, if you want to call it like that. But you also have to put in the work. It doesn't, like, you don't get to a point of success from nothing, right? Just to doing what you're supposed to do. If you don't go above and beyond for things, and if you're not giving what's needed to succeed, then it's not going to happen. Things are not just going to come to you. So I feel like millennials maybe are the other stream because they think that everything needs to be earned and so on and so like it's like from 0 to 100 again. Two different things. So like contrast. But I feel like the Gen Z generation is too comfortable. And when people are too comfortable, they don't move in the way that they need to like maybe they're doing great, right? I'm not saying you cannot, but maybe you need to be a little bit uncomfortable so you can like flourish and take that, I don't know, light bulb idea out of you. And I feel like that's what's happening.
Do you think that like the amount of information that is thrown is basically the amount of information that we all receive on a daily basis? Do you think that kind of paralyzes us per se, like especially like Gen Z, because it's like there's just so much talk about what they should be doing, what shouldn't be doing, and all of that, and you kind of like don't even know how to like. Whereas like we kind of like been doing this for a little while, and we're like, okay, like I know that this is what it takes. Right? I have to do this to get somewhere.
Because it comes with experience.
Yeah.
Like if you ask me when I started at Have-Ass, I thought, no, because I deserve more, because I'm doing this and that, and I'm doing this person's job or like whatever it is. That was when I was right out of college. And like now I went through three different companies. I kind of like work my way through, right? And I understand. I used to be annoyed because people were like, you're too young. When I was your age, I was still like making copies or this and that. Maybe not to that extreme, but it's true that you need to gather that experience and to go through it so you understand. Because it's not the same to like know about it and like know it in paper than actually live through it. So yes, they need to understand that you have to work for something, you know?
Yeah,
sometimes you do.
there are things that happen with like sometimes when you have extremes, right?
Yeah.
Like, so millennials being so much like people pleasing and like, okay, I have no worth if I'm not, putting it all. Then this whole generation watching that and be like, no, we gotta be like the complete opposite. And that kind of happens in anything in life, right? And then they're like, no, we gotta be the complete opposite. And like, I don't know, maybe is it the next one alpha? Maybe they will like find in between and find a compromise. I don't know.
I have a 14-year-old sister and a 16-year-old sister, and I'm going through it too. And I see the contrast, and I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen to us.
Oh my God, I can only imagine how that house is like. That sounds fun though. I'm like, so I don't have any younger brother or sister, but I have my brother-in-law. And I'm always like, when I see him, I'm like, hey, so I'm like, oh, of course you think about that. You're Gen Z. He's like, he looks at me. He's like, why are you saying like that? Like, you're so old or anything.
No, and don't get me wrong. I admire the Gen Z generation because they're like standing up for what they believe in, right? Mm-hmm. Like, hey, this is what I'm worth. This is what I'm putting in. This is what I deserve. That's great because they know that value and they know how to do it. Maybe millennials are not that great at it, right?
Yeah,
but there's definitely a middle ground between being like
I'm talking about the two extremes, right?
Of course, because I feel like on both sides of that, a very Gen Z thing is like you expect the world to form around you, and if you are driven and you have your interests, like things will fall into place, but you have to pursue it, and you also have to accommodate into the world that we have and build upon it. I feel like millennials, we try to like manipulate ourselves and like mold ourselves into the perfect vessel for the organization where we're in. Whereas there's the middle where it's like, okay, like I can adapt here, but I'm also going to follow my strengths.
Exactly.
Yeah. I feel like also there's something I read about the fact that, through our whole generation, we kind of realized like differently than the boomers, Generation X and stuff, they would work really hard and they would get it. And we were told, okay, if you work hard, you're going to get it.
Yeah.
And what's kind of happening right now, it's like, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get it. So maybe like this younger generation seeing and they're like, is it even worth it? You know? And it can be, of course. I really believe that the harder you work, the farther you're going to get. Unfortunately, that's how it is. But I also feel like maybe there's that kind of like culture of like, is this even worth it? Like, are we actually going to am I going to be able to buy my house?
That.
Like,
of course.
Yeah. So, hopefully, everything is in the hands of the alpha generation. I hope that was it a sister or brother?
My sister.
I hope your sister can carry through and,
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So, we have been talking about, work-life balance. We have been talking about perfectionism, all those things. And, obviously we have different like perspectives too. And I won't even because you've been working since you were like owning a business. I cannot imagine. I'm like, nowadays I'm like, I feel like I'm too young to run a business sometimes. I'm like, but I'm just a baby.
I'm just a baby. I'm just a girl.
I can only imagine you.
To be fair, like I said, my family was very entrepreneurial. They had me, at one point my mom had a beauty salon. I was making coladas when I was 8 years old. I was answering the phones at 13. She had me working at restaurants when I was like 15. I don't think that I know anything but how to work.
I hear you on that, but for me it's very similar actually. I started working when I was like 15, and I had this job. I worked for like the Brazilian Bar Association, which I was like, alright, at the time I was going to basically I was working all day, going to school at night. So that's kind of how I was raised too, and I think it's common also. I didn't know that was common here, but it's very common in South America for you to do that kind of thing. But if there's one thing that I realized is that, so I'm going to be working long hours. It's just right now I'm in that moment in my business that I think it's worth it, right? Like I know it's going to get me to the next step. So like how can I make that time that I'm working more enjoyable? Because it doesn't have to be like just me sitting in front of a desk and it's just like, can you do something to make it a little bit more pleasant? Like, can you I don't know, I don't know why I have candles in my head, but like, light a candle, do something. Like, what would you say that for you that is? Like, what makes your day a little bit less like heavy, when you have to be working?
I definitely think for me, it's the interactions that I have with my colleagues, because that was something I really felt it when I was working remotely and I was working at home. That void, I learned that for me, and this isn't going to be the case for everyone, obviously, but for me, I need to have a job or a workplace where I'm inspired or I'm motivated or I'm excited by. And a lot of that for me is working with my colleagues and being able to be a leader, a mentor, a coach. That's really where I thrive and where I get a lot of enjoyment. So I need those relationships. The relationships are what keep me going. Granted, everybody is different, right? Somebody is going to thrive working in front of an Excel sheet all day, but that communal aspect was everything for me. So coming into an environment like Mindspace, the team that I have here is phenomenal, but beyond my own team, just having the community in the space, and you get to see different people and you see how everybody's navigating and you see like other people being excited about what they're doing, that really fills my cup.
I feel like, yes, I also agree with the people, like being able to like step away from the office and just walk around the lounge area and seeing everyone mingling and like talking from different topics and like grabbing a coffee and like some pastries and then just going to Palby or Bruna and give them a hug because I want to, and then going back to my office. Like, I love that, like having that community aspect to it. But I also think it's about this space for me. I need natural light. I feel like I'm a cat. I need some sun like coming through the windows. I don't like when everything's like all over the place. I like things to be organized, right? So like my desk, I keep my desk like everything in place, or like maybe I have my coffee there and like have some sweets, or like the way you go and do your coffee, I romanticize that, right? So it's more about why you like, yes, maybe you're having a very intense meeting, but maybe you're having that intense meeting with a good lighting and you look good and you feel better, right? So like
I will say this, out of our entire team, Ashley's lighting in all of our like Zoom, Google Meets calls is always perfect. She always looks like she's being kissed by the sun. You have the best lighting.
Because I love the lighting. And honestly, it's not even about the Zoom meetings, but it's about, I love the sun.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like when it's raining outside or something like, and look, obviously we have a beautiful view here, so we can't complain. But it gets me depressed. So I feel like being around the sun just makes me, and yes, I'm hot all the time, sometimes. But that doesn't matter. That's what I need.
I'm the opposite, baby. I just needed to rain all the time so I can feel better while I'm working. So I'm like, so I don't need to be outside right now because it's raining anyway. So it's okay if I work. But no, yeah, that all makes a lot of sense. And like, you know, for you, like what you were saying about community is like, if you don't have that, if you can't, you know, have that kind of environment, like maybe like your company's from a different state, you know, you are working from home, you know, like you can always just go to a coffee shop or, you know, or
go to Mindspace.
Or you go to Mindspace and, you know, we have the co-working clubs. Like I always tell the girls, like you can do whatever you want. Like if you just want to come to just sit down and get some work done, sit down and get some work done. I know there's going to be a lot of talk around, but like a lot of girls do that. They will just sit down and they're working somehow they can, because I think it's even like that feeling of like, I'm in a social environment. Like I don't have to necessarily be talking to people, but I feel social and they're getting work done. Some are doing their calls. It's good that we have call booths here. Like actually go and do their calls. But if you don't have that, you know, if your work doesn't provide that, you know, for you right now, you can always go and seek out, you know, things like that, those environments.
And maybe some people can't and they are, you know, they need to be at home. Just make that space enjoyable. Don't do it in your bed.
No.
I feel like make a space in your apartment, in your house that's meant for work, and just add those little details that are going to make you feel better.
Or if you like to work from bed like me, sometimes you can do that too. If it, however you feel like
exactly,
does it uplift you? Right.
But like make sure you have those little elements. Like I'm hot when the sun's hitting me too, but I have a heater in my office too.
I mean, it gets cold here.
Right, it gets cold. If that little heat in your feet, it's gonna make you feel better. Have that. Like look for a way that you're gonna feel comfortable, right?
And I think there's something so important into like switching like a trigger in your brain when you have the ritual, right? I love that you said romanticizing, like making your coffee. Like making it an event, something that you're looking forward to, because like work is where you're going to spend most of your time. So like get ready, like consciéntete, like give yourself a little bit of that like tenderness to be like, oh, okay, like this is going to be a great 8 hours, right? Or this is going to be a great 6 hours or whatever it is. I think that really like helps put you into the headspace of like, oh, it's time now. Let me do the thing I need to do.
Yeah, like whatever lights you up. Like for me, it's like I'm not much of a makeup person. Most times I come without makeup, and I'm like, I don't care if anyone sees me. I have breakouts or whatever. But sometimes just like putting a little bit like on, it's just like, oh, I already feel a little bit better.
Dress up a little bit. Wear heels if you need to wear heels. Like
exactly, whatever makes you feel better.
One of the things that I've enjoyed most about coming to work at Mindspace is all of the soft seating. Like there are sofas. It feels so cozy. I think some of the other like co-working spaces that I've seen feel very sterile or feel like a college dormitory, and you're just like, okay, so I guess corporate. This is where I have to set up. But you come here and it has just like this relaxed, open, comfortable vibe. There's always great music. There's always like snacks for everyone, and it just feels very different. So I get excited to walk into our workspace. I'm like, I'm here.
You know that you come from a marketing perspective also, in the sense of like when they give you a product and you have to promote it and sometimes you don't believe in it. I was really happy that the product that I was given, it's actually what it is, right? You are selling a beautiful space. You are selling community. You are selling this and this and that, but it's actually a beautiful space. I feel like when you walk into our offices, like the art, the books, the everything, the colors, the sofa, everything is curated for you to feel like, okay, this is not, we are in a professional environment, but this doesn't feel like a white box. And I feel like it hits different. And at least from what I've seen working here, I have to do marketing for all the US locations. So I get to travel to all the different locations. Every location is totally different. And every location is kind of curated into that local feel. And I feel like that's like, it makes you be inspired in a way, right? Like I feel like I was doing a campaign for summer and I saw this painting at the Wynwood location. I was like, I like that concept. And sometimes you don't even know like what ideas you can get out of it. So yes, for me, I am truly like, I believe that your environment and your space influence the way you feel and the way you think. It's not a white box. It doesn't feel cold and like the metal and the chairs and the boring carpet. It feels inspired. And it feels alive, and it feels like it has, you know, when a place has a soul, right?
Oh yes.
I'm all about energy too. So like I feel like, okay, there's like this good energy in this place and I want to be here.
And I'll add to that too, like I think we provide such an incredible landing spot already for that. But then it's so beautiful to see like as you're walking through our spaces and you see how individuals bring up or like decorate their offices. Like our corporate office in Wynwood is so cozy. We have art all over the walls. We have like a little desk. We have a refrigerator. It feels, when I walk into our office, it's like, the girls are here.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you don't want to like mix your art decor with yours, you can make your office whatever you want. The office next to ours is also pretty good. I don't know if I can mention names on them, but they are very good, and they make that space their own, right? So I feel like it's important.
Some people decorate, some people bring equipment and everything.
Or like lights. You'll see plants. You'll see everything.
You can do whatever you want. I love that. But it really like got to me when you said the soul thing, because that's what I felt. Like there was always something about co-working spaces that reminded me of my corporate life. Like you said, it felt like a white box. And then I got in here and I'm like, wait a minute. This is like very like
fancy living room.
It's just like everything about it in the playlist. I want to know who's putting together the playlist, because I love it. I love it. But it definitely felt that way for both me and my partner. We were like, okay, wait a minute. This feels like a little bit more creative. We feel like we could like actually be here and like not like hate ourselves. We're
Yeah.
like, when you have to work and like you're stressed.
Even
and
to
stuff
bring
like that.
clients in.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right?
absolutely.
Every time someone, maybe we are used to seeing every day, right? Because we walk through those doors every day. But when you come in for the first time and you're bringing a client in, it's like it's impressive. It's like, oh, like this place is nice. And I see every time that I'm like by the counter area, like where Bruna sits, people walking in and like being impressed by it. So like it changes.
It definitely does. Like and then the meeting rooms are like, then let me not even get started with the meeting rooms. Like I just found out I had that camera thing to turn. So
Yeah.
this was here the whole time. This is so cool. And like we were just like playing with it the whole time. We were like, I love that. So since we're like talking about Mindspace, we're talking about environments. There is something that has been kind of in my mind because I had this conversation the other day, someone, and we were talking about like how things are changing, right? A lot of companies are like, okay, you have to come back to the office. You have to, we already know, at least you have to work hybrid for most of them. And it made me wonder, I'm like, how does that affect, co-working spaces? Like you hear about WeWork, like kind of going bankrupt, like things like that, we hear. I don't know if it's true. I just heard it, okay? But like how has that kind of like affected like your business operation?
I feel like it's great news for us.
Yeah.
If you see only the co-working hot desk part of it, in the conversation that we're having, maybe like we don't have a lot of remote workers anymore and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, just like one small area of like what Mindspace is about, right? So our business also have private offices, and that's more like 90% of our business, right? We also appeal to the enterprises and the big companies that they want to take a whole floor, or maybe just like you don't need a whole floor because you're not a big business, but you are a small company of like 2 to 4 person, and you need a private office and you need the flexibility because you don't want to sign a traditional lease for 5 years in the commercial real estate landscape that we're living right now. Right. So it's great news because that means that we have the product that people are looking for to bring their employees back into the office, and not only back into the office, but they're going to make it fun. Yeah. And I feel like one of the things that it's like a big value proposition into like what we offer, it's like the employer, like the owner of this business doesn't have to think about how do I make this place better for my employees? How do I motivate them to come to work? Right? Because we are providing that, and you're going to network with more people. You're going to have these little activities in the middle of the day, like the clay. We had Botox in the other day.
I saw that.
Like those different activities, I even heard, this is a really good one story that I was talking with this member in DC, and he's like, I love these activities we do, the Mindspace hours, when it was like in an international, like Women's Day. Obviously he forgot, he had no idea, but then we in the office we were making bouquets and like flower arrangements and so on and so forth. So he joined the activity, he did that, and he got home with the flowers, and his wife was like, oh, you remembered? And he's like, of course I did. Of course I did. Here it is. Like, congratulations on your day and so on and so forth. So like, I feel like we are also providing them that. So it's that added value that it's not only just the real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think to your point also, especially as we're in this new murky water where these like much larger enterprise clients are trying to funnel their workforce back into office, it's a much easier sell and commitment and like less of a financial burden to say, let's go into this flex workspace and try for a year or two and see how our employees are responding in this hybrid model, or having them go
even
back
6
in.
months.
Even 6 months, exactly, versus committing to 5 to 10 years. And then you're also paying for the build out, the desks, the food that you might have. Where you come into a space like ours, we're already providing all of those basic things. You don't have to worry about that. And we're incentivizing your team because we have all of these fun pop-ups and events and activities.
Yeah, you're thinking outside the box for them.
Exactly.
Like, so you're trying to cover, and even like doing the Women's Day thing is like, a lot of companies, they have to that's kind of a box to check, right? You have to have those moments, like celebrate the women, celebrate certain things, and you're already taking care of that so they can just join in. I love that part because also like we were in LA for a while, and honestly, like we had the studio there, we were working there, we had our shoots and everything, and then we worked with a lot of vendors and things like that. As we came here, we were trying to do the remote thing, right? But you know, as the team started growing, we're working with these people like on a regular basis, right? And it's like I would constantly feel like I couldn't delegate something because just the thought of like I'm not in the same environment as that person, and then now I have to suddenly explain to this person over Zoom what needs to be. There's something about sitting together and
100%.
doing it, and like the energy, you just feel more inspired to do the work because you're like in this environment versus like being at home and then like maybe your roommates like watching, I don't know, so I don't know why I thought it's soap opera, but this is like a but like, you know what I mean? Like you have all those distractions when you're here. I feel like when me and my team were here, we're working, and there are moments that we're just chilling and we're just talking, but even that feels okay.
Building that relationship also.
Exactly.
You know, like it doesn't happen over soon.
There's an energy there that does not happen, and it's like in how much I see my team being able to pick up things from me when we are working together that I wouldn't be able to be passing to them like again over Zoom, right? You're just like going in on a quick call and you're talking, and everything has to have a really like specific purpose to be in that call. Why couldn't this be an email? And it's like all of those things, and it's like being here has really changed that for us. So I think it's made like a lot easier to get things done, has made it a lot easier to be able to even get across our company culture, right? Like making sure that the people felt like creative, because it is a creative job. So that definitely changed once we came in here.
I also think for especially like more creative roles, there's something to be said. Like I completely agree. Working with your team in person is a complete game changer, but also in those like still moments or like those like off moments, when you're in the communal area and you meet other people, I feel like that sparks a lot of creativity, and that sparks a lot of ideas or like networking, or there's just so much more. It's such a more dynamic environment where maybe you decide to collaborate with one of the other brands that's also in the co-working space, right?
And there's so many different industries. Like we had experiences where like we had a financial company and another company, and then they met over coffee in the kitchen, and now they are doing the accounting for this company. You know, like it's a great way to meet people, meet service, like acquire services from other people, and also grow your business.
For sure. Now we had the co-working club here the other day, and we have the introductions, right? And this girl, she was introducing her business. She has like this, she just launched a product, and she was looking to like retail options and things like that. And this guy heard it. He's a Mindspace member. He heard it. Afterwards, he came to me. He's like, could you introduce me to her? Like, he wanted to be respectful, right? Could you introduce me to her? Because actually, I work with retail stores all over the U.S.
Incredible.
And I feel like I can help her. And I'm like, oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah, and in a very organic way, right? Because sometimes we do these networking events and it's like, hi, nice to meet you. My name is Vanessa. This is what I do. Whereas like here you're sharing coffee, or you're just, you know, having a conversation, and then it sparks something so organically. And I think that's the beauty of these spaces, right? I know something we had talked about was like the idea of a third space as well. It's that this is where you can cultivate that.
Yeah, you're talking about connections. I can only imagine there are different situations happening that you notice, that you see happening. You're like, wow, like this place is actually giving that to them, giving that opportunity for them to meet. Do you have
are
any...
people dating at
Yes, that's what I wanted to know. Do you see like those things happening?
Yeah, I have seen that, and I have, maybe not necessarily in the Miami office, but I have heard stories from other locations, even like globally in Europe and London and so on and so forth, Germany, that they get married. And like they are a couple, and like people build families, and because at the end of the day, like you spend most of your time there.
Yeah. So
you're gonna spark those conversations, or you're gonna, you know, have those connections. And I'm not saying this is not a propaganda for people to go date on my space, but it happens because it's like you're sharing time with people.
Yeah.
Or also like friendships,
Exactly,
right? Like so many people like become friends. Like I see it all of the time where our members are friends with our staff, and people like spend their birthdays together and like to celebrate. And that's an incredible thing if you think about it, right?
Yeah.
Like you go into a co-working space, and now the community manager is like one of your best friends, and you're grabbing drinks and you're spending weekends together. That's amazing. Or maybe the person at the office next door, like that's such a fun and unique thing.
Yeah, it's funny because I like in the beginning, there's the gentleman and the next place, the other place, and I'm an introvert. Everyone knows that. I already said that. I have a hard time like starting conversations. I'm not gonna start it, and it was always kind of like that thing that like hi like, and we actually were upstairs at some point, and I think we had like actually there was like an event going on, and finally I was like, you know what, I'm gonna talk to them.
Here you go.
And then we started talking. I'm like, wait, these guys are super cool. Like, and then the other day we were like filming, we were doing a thing, and I need to capture some content. And I was like, can you guys like come and like shoot with us? Like for just a little moment, like, can you come? And they're like, yeah. And they were like in the middle of their work there. They're like, yeah, we'll go. Like there's nothing like, of course they had things to do, but they're like, we'll sit down and do that with you. And it's just like things like that you just, how are you going to do that at home? Or even like if you're in an office, like sometimes it's just things are so like
structured.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really nice that you have those opportunities here, especially if you are an introvert, that you're not like putting yourself out there that much. It's very productive when you can actually like still be in those situations that kind of force you to talk to people, right?
Of course.
Yeah. You see a lot of different professionals, especially, how things have changed in Miami, that you see a lot of different people coming in. Like, have you noticed like a shift or a difference like in terms of like the different industries that are here now versus the ones that were here before?
I mean, I think Miami historically has been very tourism focused, right? So we had a lot of people in the service industry, hotels, restaurants. I definitely feel like there's been more of a shift to tech and a lot more. I mean, there's always been real estate, but like the developers have changed quite a lot. There's so much construction happening all of the time. But I would say in our spaces, a lot more tech, a lot more creatives as well.
Yeah, marketing agencies, financial institutions, nonprofits, but tech is a big part of it.
Miami is kind of becoming what they call a melting pot, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Of everything. So it's really cool to see like the different industries, and I'm always trying to keep an eye on that because I'm like, okay, what is the next?
Yeah. I mean, we have Damon John in our office from
That's right,
from Shark Tank.
Yes.
Yeah. So I feel like it's a little bit of everything.
And he moved here recently too, right? Like he wasn't like.
He joined almost a year ago.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, so I feel like we've talked a lot about like what makes us feel good and things that are like how we're going about things. But I would like to touch a little bit on like, especially for, the women watching this, like for you, like what was like a time in which you felt out of balance? And like, how did you manage to get yourself out of that?
I think when I was in that moment of working remotely, I felt such a disconnect. And I really felt myself kind of spinning out where my workout routine changed. My dietary habits changed because I went from being on the move and connecting with people to just being so incredibly sedentary and then just getting snacky or finding like ways to fill my day. And then my body started to react and I started to feel it. And I had so many conversations with one of my closest friends is also my like coach and trainer, and I would have so many conversations being like, I don't know what's going on. He's like, what do you mean, Vanessa? Like, you're not moving your body. Of course this is what's happening. Like, you need to get out. You need to like start taking care of yourself again. And I think I am so good at rationalizing the current state that I'm in that sometimes you lose the forest for the trees, right? And you don't realize when you're in that rut. And it takes a lot of mindfulness to say like, okay, wait, what have the past couple of weeks look like? What am I actually doing? How am I actually moving forward? And like I had said before, it's about taking the time, realizing what it is that you need to fill your own cup, and it's going to be different for everyone, and just bringing yourself back home, right? Like the internal home, not like your actual physical space.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I went through that last year in my previous role. I had friends. I went back to the ER, and I had like my friends from like high school and so on and so forth. It's like, so what's new with your life? Like tell me a little bit more. And I was talking, and like one of my really good friends was like, okay, so that's about work. So like, what about your life? Like, what else are you doing? And I realized like, oh my God, my life is work. I wake up, I go to the gym, I go to work, I go home, I prepare dinner, and I get ready for the next day. And it just like goes on and on and on and on. I don't have anything else out of that, right? So I feel like I was like, okay, I'm only working, and I'm proud of everything I'm doing. I'm proud of everything that I have achieved on my own, but it's my whole life. And that's where you lose the balance. It's like, I don't have anything else to talk about. I don't have anything else to share. And I was like, okay, I need to make a change. This needs to change. And since then, I changed jobs.
Me too.
And I started adding more things. Like I started a new hobby. Like I said, like, you know what? I'm really bad at sports. I was like, I'm going to learn a new sport. I started taking tennis classes. I started going to my dance class. I put in my mind, I was like, I know a lot of people ever since I moved to Miami, but they are all from work. My goal was like, I need to make friends outside of work, and I need to start doing more things. And yes, maybe you ask me now, and I don't have these like huge changes in my personal life, like a new boyfriend or a family and this and that. But I can tell you a little bit more like things that I'm doing outside of work that are more interesting than just talking about work. And I feel like that was the moment, and I feel like you have to answer that question to yourself. And so like, how's my life right now? What am I doing? What's the update? If you are going to give an update to an old friend, what are you going to share? Right?
That's a good question. Yeah. I feel like for me, because I have the business and it fulfills me in the creative side, and then I have the community and it fulfills me in terms of like friendships and stuff, I feel like it's all about that a lot of times. You know, so for me, it's like I am with the community. I am talking about community related things. I am talking about like what's the next thing that we can do to, you know, like, and it's always like for other people, right? Like what is the next thing? And I rarely am talking about like, oh, what is the next thing that I want to do for me? And the thing that it's not related to work that I just want to do, right? I mean, I have candle making now.
I was gonna say, like, you heard like something.
I'm gonna change career though. But that's the thing, like, doing it without having to like.
And it doesn't need to be like a hobby thing. Go to a concert, like do this, try a new restaurant. Like, what are you doing with your life that's not work related?
Yeah, and that's just for you.
Yeah, it's just for you. That's very true, because like. For me, it's like easier. Like, okay, if I'm gonna do anything different, let me do it with a friend. Yeah. Because also, I mean, and you should do that as well. But like, let me do it with a friend, because then that's the time I also get to spend with that friend. But then it's like, I am someone who like I used to in LA. I used to go to the movie theater. Yeah. Like, almost every week I would go and watch a different movie by myself, and that's literally my favorite thing. To the point in which like. I want to see a new movie, and my boyfriend's like, I'm like,
go without him.
I want him to go with me, but like when he says that he's not, like, I don't really feel like.
Just
I'm like,
go.
Yeah, that's fine. Like, because I enjoy going by myself, and like I just never do this now because it is for me, and I'm the only person to be accountable of that. I end up not doing it because there's no one else to be like, hey, Alan, you said you were gonna go there with me, and it's like, so it's like really learning how to put yourself first sometimes, and it's just really hard, but I'm getting there, and I feel like that's my like moment, right? Like I feel like I am going through a little bit of a burnout right now,
and maybe this conversation is meant to be, and maybe we needed to do this episode today because you needed to realize that, and maybe someone listening is going through the same thing, and it's just like ask yourself the right questions and be honest,
and stop comparing yourself, because it's like with social media, like everyone is just they're looking at it and they're like, okay, this person is like thriving. This person is like doing all these things all over the place. And it's like, it's just, obviously you're not going to see like the sad times that that person is going through. You're not going to see, like, people probably see my life and they're like, she's got the community. She probably has a lot of friends. But then you don't think about the fact that like, I am spending most of my free time with a lot of like the community, with the women. And it's like, I hardly ever get time to spend with my actual friends. So like to nurture friendships is very, very difficult. I have a really good group of friends that I have been able to have here, but like I barely get to see them because I'm, putting all that time. So there's always like a give and take, right? So like if you're seeing that someone is like thriving online, you can be sure there's another part in their life that's probably not, that great, that they're having to work through, right? So it's like, just look within and figure out what for you that is, what you want to be working on.
Yeah. And I think also like, I feel like this is something that I heard all of the time, like as like throughout my life and growing up. It's just that like time is precious, but my goodness, is time precious. Like I think in that people pleaser state and in that like internet, social media, FOMO like life, you're always trying to be everywhere, be everything all at once. And it's just like, no, my time is so important and it's so valuable. And if I'm spending time with you, aren't you lucky? Because this time is precious. If I'm going to take away from like something to nurture myself to spend time with someone else, like it better be something that I am so excited to do, not just like a box that I'm checking, right? Because like we don't get that back and then it adds up and then we're just exhausted at the end of it, right? It's so important to really put yourself first. And I think so many women just feel so guilty about giving themselves the value and saying like, no, this is my boundary and this is where I'm drawing the line for myself, and I don't really care what you think about it because this is for me, right? Like we need to be able to have that ownership and not feel guilty.
Yeah, we all live different lives. Like some people have a 9 to 5, they're able to turn it off once they get out of work, right? Some people don't have that. Some people, the same way that maybe they don't have the flexibility sometimes I have throughout the day, I also don't have that flexibility that like I can just turn it off. I go home and I'm still thinking about work.
Thinking.
Yeah. And then when it's like, okay, I still have things that I have to accomplish when I get home, right? Because maybe I'm focusing on one thing during the day and then I have to focus on another side project that I have in other things. And it's like some people sometimes are like, well, but you can go out, you never go out, you never want to do those things. It's like, okay, we have like obviously different priorities and different things that we have to be doing and we should be reserving time. But like if I'm choosing to spend my time doing this, and it's because it's very important for me.
Yeah.
So you would expect your friends to be like, this is important for you.
Yeah.
And and I do have amazing friends that do, thankfully, but I do see like the pressure, happening from a lot of sides.
Because the culture now is that we have to do it all.
Yeah.
And do we have to do it all, right?
Yeah.
There's so much.
Yeah.
Like it's impossible.
Yeah. That's the whole point of, I think, of like the work-life balance thing. Like it kind of pushes you to be like, okay, I have to have this perfect balance. I have to do it all. I have to get the wellness. I have to get the self-care. I have to work and do all those things. And it's like, no, it's really
do
not
what
about
you can.
that.
It's not about that.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like I don't agree with the balance word.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like go with what feels right for you. Maybe you have a different flow of things. Maybe you have a different rhythm. I don't know, but it's not about like 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's going to be 90-10,
Yeah.
80-20.
Yeah.
It's what works for you.
It depends on your priorities. It's like based on your priorities.
And the season, right? Because it ebbs and flows. Like sometimes you're at a point in your career where you're like, I'm all in here. Other times your relationships take priority. Other times it's like, I don't know, you want to explore something creative and you're going and feeding a new hobby. It just, there's not a right way to do this, right?
Yeah.
What's your season? I like that.
Yeah. In your hormones too. Also throughout the month, you're like, you're
we
really
can do
like
a whole podcast about that
talking about hormones and the differences. Yeah. Like we can't just like always be on the same, line. I mean, I hope that helps people out there. They're looking at things and they're just probably like wondering like, why am I doing enough? Like, why can't I have the same time for wellness or like life balance as these other people? But like, it really is just, figure out your own time and what matters to you, your priorities, right? Because if you don't want to be like, I don't know, the president of the United States, so maybe you can chill a little
And what
bit.
you're seeing from other people is just the best side of it.
Yes.
We are always going to share the best side of things.
Yeah.
So yes, maybe you see that the person has time for this and that, but maybe that's not a reality, and they're just like forcing it so it looks like that. So just be a human.
Yeah.
Just a girl. Be just a girl.
Yes. You got this. Well, thank you so much for coming to this humble office at Mindspace. Humble enough, because look at this view, like sorry, but no, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate how you guys are constantly working to make this better, and you can see it. I just love that I got to know you both better as well, because I know we're always here, like, kind of, working on different things, and you guys are always, like, going out of your way to make us comfortable. And I also love that this gives an idea of, like, how it feels to be here and how, like, the Mindspace team, like, feels like, and, and why I'm such an advocate. Like you were saying, like, it's good to be working at a place that you actually believe in. And for me, it's the same. Like, we do our events here. We have you guys as a partner. Like, for me, it's the same. It's like, I am not just recommending Mindspace because we have a partnership. I'm recommending Mindspace because I actually feel good here, and I wish for other people to feel the same way. And I wish for other girls that are by themselves working at home, like spiraling, like we all did, right? I wish for them to be able to, like, think, okay, like, oh, maybe it is worth it. Maybe it is worth for me to get out there, Like, I don't have to, have, necessarily friends, even though now, have no Miami girls here. But, put yourself out there, and that's kind of an investment for you. Like, you're investing in that time that you're going to have in romanticizing your life and making it very comfortable and nice, and having your workshops and all the different things that, just add up to it, and I think makes us all happier. And of course, not to mention the opportunities, right, that you get here, like, not just not working, but it's the organic networking, right? It doesn't feel like forced or anything like that. And, maybe even a boyfriend or a girlfriend.
I was going to say.
Who knows? Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Yes.